So, cardiophobia. Cardiophobia is, in essence, a form of health anxiety where the focus is on the heart. So, it's basically tickerphobia. It's characterized by an intense fear that there's something wrong with the heart. And as with other forms of health anxiety and forms of OCD as well, they're all kind of interlinked. It's this unease or sense of anxiety which leads the patient or the sufferer to seek out some sort of reassuring behaviour, to scratch the itch, if you like. They seek out the reassuring behaviour, and then the anxiety goes away for generally a short period of time, and then the anxiety returns. You know, what if it's wrong? What if there's something wrong with my heart now? Obviously, cardiophobia is a particularly nasty form because it's to do with the source of life, our heart. People can become hyper aware of sensations, you know, palpitations brought about by perfectly normal things like drinking a bit too much coffee or stress, all of these things that can cause palpitations in all of us. These have been misread as signals that there's something very wrong with the heart that further fuels the anxiety that will then seek the reassurance seeking behaviour. Obviously, when it's your heart, the reassurance seeking behaviour can tend to be going to accident and emergency, or going to see your doctor to get ECGs and get blood tests and get the whole workup. These people can have quite a hard time seeking medical care, especially when they go to the hospital and it's found there's actually nothing technically or physically wrong with the heart. Obviously, A&E places, emergency departments are very busy places. The nurses there and the doctors there are generally more focused on critical illness and medical care, and people turning up with mental health problems or anxiety disorders or these disorders that masquerade with physical symptoms can have a bit of a hard time finding the help they need. You know, they're essentially looking for help in the wrong place. They're seeking the reassurance from the wrong place, really. The problem is the anxiety. The problem is the health anxiety. The problem is the cardiophobia, not necessarily that there's something wrong with the heart. Obviously, the caveat to this is if you have chest pain, if you have, you know, palpitations that are new and are not going away, then it is very helpful and recommended to go and see your doctor or go to A&E to get it checked out. But if it's a recurrent thing and you've got a series of ECGs that have all proven to be negative, your blood tests are perpetually coming back clear, and you're still concerned that there's something wrong with your heart, you can't get any relief from this idea that there is something wrong with your heart, then that's cardiophobia. I've always found it really cruel that anxiety symptoms mimic cardiac problems. It's awful because you imagine being in that situation where you're anxious and then your chest starts hurting, then you start getting short of breath, then you start getting clammy, all of which is pointing you towards there's something seriously wrong with my heart here, but then nothing is found. So I've always thought that was a cruel twist of fate and nature, that one of the most serious physical ailments in a heart attack, the symptoms are close enough to a severe panic attack or a severe anxiety attack to mimic each other. In fact, a lot of patients I've seen over the years thinking they've got a problem with their heart, on further investigation, have actually been suffering from generalized anxiety disorder, health anxiety, unregulated stress. There's all these manner of things. And it just goes to show how interlinked our mind and body are, in that our mental thought processes, what we believe to be true tends to be realized and manifested on a physical level. And obviously, if you do have a physical illness on top of that, that can complicate things further. So cardiophobia, getting back on track, is a form of health anxiety with a specific focus on the heart. Now, this can come about after a heart event. So someone may have been absolutely fine living their life and then had a bout of angina. They may have been investigated for heart disease. They may have even had a heart attack or heart surgery. And then the cardiophobia has come about as a stress response after that. So they're completely focused on this. Oh my God, there's something wrong with my heart. What's going on? How can I fix this? What if it happens again? Which is a completely justifiable fear, but you don't have to live in that state of fear. Therapy can be extremely beneficial. Relaxation techniques can be extremely beneficial to help you separate the wheat from the chaff. I've always been of the opinion, as a medic for over 20 years now, if there's something seriously wrong with your body will let you know in no uncertain terms. I mean that in the acute sense. So if you are having an actual heart attack, if you are having a genuine health crisis, your body will let you know. Your body will let you know. Unfortunately, these symptoms can be very similar to anxiety, which can confuse things a little bit. But regardless of whether you have a heart issue or not, if you are suffering from cardiophobia, then there is help at hand. We can do a session to unpick the anxieties and help you move forward to, like I say, be able to separate the wheat from the chaff there. Cardiophobia is a horrible condition to suffer from because in its essence you're worried about what's going on with your heart without being able to get immediate reassurance that there's nothing wrong with the heart. The people who suffer from it will quite likely be obsessed with checking blood pressure, checking heart rate, feeling for palpitations. They can be incredibly introspective people, incredibly aware of physical sensation, which again, as with other forms of health anxiety, can further complicate things. So I hope this has been helpful, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.